go and get started, Kendra. So I'm Brett Lindquist. I'm the CEO of the mortgage firm, and we wanted to help all of you, our partners. And Kendra's been in the business for we've known each other for about 20 years, but she's been a incredible producing realtor and then a spectacular coach, and she still does that now. And Kendra, the topic this morning, I'm gonna let you announce it, but it can really help the people on this call. So we appreciate you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. So I just put the name of the book in the chat, or you can just go to Amazon and put my name, just put it E at the end of Kendra and it'll pop right up. So thank you guys for that. So we are going to work on key influencers in your business. And I will tell you, there came a time in my business where I could not be at every place I needed to be. And I thought, you know what? I'm burning out. I'm working too many hours. I talk about that in the book. And so one of the things that somebody introduced to me, my coach at the time said, your homework assignment is go meet 10 influential people in your community and just pick their brain about how do they get it all done? What is their lead source? How did they get in their industry? And start building relationships with people that are movers and shakers in your community that can bring your name up in any circle when real estate is spoken. And I thought, wow, that's really intelligent. So, telling on myself, I did the 10 interviews and there was no follow up plan. And so I did the interviews and then I just kind of was like, okay, check the box. If any of you can relate with that, get the task done, check the box and move on. And so a few months went by and I was complaining to that same coach about that didn't work, nothing happened. And they said to me, well, what's your follow up? And I was like, well, nothing. You told me to meet with these people and I did what I was told. And so the big piece is we identify those key influencers, but then we maintain a relationship and we go deeper. And these are the people that you want to be in the flow with. So I'm going to talk a lot about that today. But just know that the whole concept behind key influencers is the word leverage. I want to leverage relationships with people who have businesses like mine that can bring up my name in a room when I am not there. Okay. So just think about if you had a list of 10, mine started with 10. When it was over, it was 50. I'm going to share a stat with you guys at the end, not to brag, but to tell you how the evolution happened for this part of my business. So I'm going to share my screen. I actually have a PowerPoint today, so you don't have to look at me the whole time. And I will launch this and make sure that you guys can see. You guys can see this. Thumbs up for somebody. Brett, Christine. Okay, good. All right. Let me just start the slideshow. There we go. Okay, perfect.
Yes.
All right. So the perfect real estate model looks like this for me. And believe me, I have challenged and tried and all of the things. But 40%, we want 40% of your business to come out of people who know, like, and trust you. And we've talked about database. And that piece is on autopilot, right? We know we call them twice a month. I'm sorry, twice a year. We know they get our mailers. We invite them to client parties. So if we could get 40% of our deals out of there, and then 40% out of these key influencer VIPs in our business, which we're going to talk about today, that would leave a 20% group, if you will, of cold leads. So those are open house website leads, if you buy any kind of internet leads or anything like that. Sometimes when I coach people or I'm consulting somebody, this is so reversed. They're like 40% of my leads are cold and they don't convert, or I don't have the key influencers, so I'm relying 50-50 in database and cold leads. And I think this is probably a perfect real estate model if you can get to here. And if you did your homework and you're like, hey, I'm not here yet, great, then we need to up the activity within the database, or we need to add the key influencers to get here. This won't happen overnight, so I don't expect that it will. But what I would love for you to do is start working on the perfect real estate model for your business, so we can start saving money, cutting costs, really getting a well-balanced business, kind of like a well-balanced diet, right? All right, so let's talk about who should be on the list. My ultimate goal when I started with this, I wanted 50% of the people. Guys, if you haven't muted yourself, please mute yourself so we don't hear the background. So my ultimate goal was I would know 50% of these people, really, really, like my vendors, people who are really new. And I wanted 50% of them to be somebody I knew, but I really wasn't in relationship with. right? So I was adding some new folks into my sphere, if you would, but I really wanted to focus on people who had tons of relationships. So who are those people? So we're going to talk about that. The other key to that is they got to know, like, and trust me, just like my database, and I have to know, like, and trust them because I'm going to ask them to help me grow my business. And if there's somebody on your key influencer list that you're like, oh, I don't really like talking to them, or maybe they don't do business the way I want to, don't put them on there because that's the people they refer. They refer their same kind of people, right? And then the last thing is people that you have things in common with. And I'll give you some examples of that as we go through this presentation. But just a quick one is if I'm really in the flow with these people and I know their favorite charity and they happen to have that commonality with me, let's say the American Heart Association, if I buy a table to the Heart Gala, I want to fill it with my key influencers because you know what? They have the same commonality that we're passionate about fitness or health. And number two is they know people in that room that I don't know. So if they're talking to somebody I'd like to get to know, I can ask them to introduce me to that person and then I can follow up and have a one on one. That's leverage. Okay. So I want you to think about people you have things in common with. So who are some of these key influencers that you want in your business? Let's think business people. We want them to have a big book of business. What kind of business? They could be a builder who's looking for land, right? That you could get the land for them and then also help them get the houses listed. HR directors, headhunters, recruiters. That is huge. If you have a LinkedIn page and you're looking for some HR directors, you'll be surprised how many people you know in these different arenas that you aren't even reaching out to ask for their help. Okay. This will go back to last month. If you remember when we were talking about database, we talked about knowing where people work. This is why. This is why a lot of these people are already in your database and you're only thinking of them for their purchase and their sale. You're not thinking about where they work and how you can leverage that relationship for multiple referrals throughout the year. Okay. Financial planners. Keep in mind there is somebody managing your money. All right. There are also financial planners that have kind of like the alphabet soup, like we do after our names, ABR, CRS, broker. There are senior financial planners. So if you have your favorite financial planner and you're not a senior, but you know a senior financial planner, you need to have a conversation with them. And I'm going to give you a scenario about that in just a second. And then your favorite past clients, again, go back through your database and see where some of these people work. If they own a small business, let's say they have 20 or 25 employees, even 50 employees, what a great resource for you to go in and do a lunch and learn or drop off some pizzas with a flyer once a quarter just to remind them, the employees, that hey, we're here. Now, some of you probably just went in your mind as I did when I was given that, like, why would they want a realtor to come in and talk to their employees? Let me just give you a quick scenario so I can get us out of real estate world and into leverage world. If I have 20 or 30 or 50 employees and half of them do not own a home, they're more inclined to job hop because they have less responsibility, right? Now, think about Brett, who has this company with these employees. If they all are financially sound, they own a home, they have responsibilities, they're less likely to walk out the door when Brett changes a policy that they don't like. So it is expensive to hire and lose employees. If you don't have any yet, you may not understand that. But our goal with these people is to help them have profitable businesses, and we can help them do that with educating their employees as how important it is to own a home. So when you go back through your database and you're like, well, this person's a small business owner, I mean, it's very easy to go in and take pizzas and hang out for 30, 40 minutes and sit with somebody in a boardroom and have a real estate conversation of how to get qualified for their loan. You could take your favorite lender with you, right? Help them understand what kind of things they need to get qualified. Maybe even talk about the difference in renting versus owning, what their tax deductions are. You guys, these are all things that we didn't know until somebody put that in front of us. So I want you to think about past clients where they work. All right. Our ultimate goal is we're going to start with 10 of these people, 10 people. I want you to find 10 potential key influencers that you're going to put on a list, and then I'm going to help you with how to work that in the expectation list. Okay. But I want to go back before I change this slide to the financial planner. And I said a senior financial planner, meaning they work with seniors. Okay. Um, One of my best, biggest refers for many, many years was a guy named Larry. And I went to like a happy hour luncheon type thing with my preferred lender at the time when I was in business. And all the realtors are in the room and we're all talking about our niche properties and what's going on in the market and the rates and blah, blah, blah. And there's this man standing against the wall, kind of like a wallflower, right? And those of you that know me know I've never met a stranger in my whole life. So I beeline right over to him because I'm thinking he's a new realtor who doesn't know anybody in the room and nobody's introducing themselves to him. So I go over, I stick my hand out. I'm like, hi, I'm Kendra Cook with Cook Realty Partners. You must be a new real estate agent. And he's like, no. And I was like, no. And he said, no. I said, well, what do you do? Are you here for this engagement? And he said, I am. And he said, my name's Larry Roby and I'm a senior financial planner. And I was like, well, that's interesting. What does a senior financial planner do? Right? Because most people don't put that word in front of financial planner. And he says, I specialize in working with seniors, preparing them to retire so they can retire when they're ready to. And I thought, ding, 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 I need to know this man, right? So I said to him, may I get your card and follow up with you? I'd love to buy you a cup of coffee and learn more about that. Now, no offense to anyone, I'm not a senior yet, still not a senior yet. Okay. So I called him, we had coffee. He actually invited me to his office. We sat around the table and he said to me, why would you call on me? I've never had a real estate agent call me and ask for my business. And I said, well, if you're working with seniors who are preparing themselves to be financially savvy when they want to retire, do you talk about real estate with them? He said, not really. He said, I do a yearly review with them and we talk about their portfolio. I just tell them if they're interested in downsizing or buying a bigger home or buying a second home to get back in touch with their previous realtor. And I said to him, do you know the average realtor lasts in this market like 16 months? Do you know the average realtor, the middle mediocre realtor lasts 5 years? I said, so it's very possible that their realtors aren't in the business anymore and they're going on the internet and may or may not get a good selection of a realtor choice. What if you could refer them to me? I have X years experience. I'm looking to grow my business. I could give them honest, true information and refer them back to you to make the financial decision. He was like, wow, that was a win, win, win. The buyer or seller gets a professional who's educated in the market. If they downsize and take their money and put it back in the market, guess what? Mr. Roby gets the commission on that. And I get paid and gain a new referral partner and client in the buyer or the seller. That's the very first key influencer that opened my mind to think that this is how you leverage your business. Now, Larry and I did about 8 deals a year on average. The cool thing was when I got a client from Larry, I got 2 deals because 99% of the time they're either downsizing or they're buying a second home. If they're buying a second home next to their grandkids or whatever, guess what? I get to refer it. So I get a referral fee for making a call and I get to downsize or get a sale of their lease or sell, I'm sorry, their sell or purchase in my neighborhood. So think bigger, guys. We got to open our horizon to what that looks like. Now, here's the next question. Don't forget to ask Larry or whoever your key influencer is, what is their real estate situation? Because the extension of that conversation is after years and years of working with Larry, one day he called me and he said, hey, Kendra, I want to talk to you about listing one of my rental homes. And I said, you have rental houses? And he said, I have 300 doors. It's my wife and I's retirement plan. Did you guys hear that? 300 doors. I had no idea. I had never asked him about his real estate. Dumb, dumb, dumb. Instead of ding, 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 it was dumb, 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 right? So I say that to say, listen, you guys, don't forget to talk to these people. Yes, we want them to help us meet people, but these folks will have some opportunities for you too. So that is really the base of the key influencer program is find people that can help you find clients without spending a ton of money and help them with their real estate business. Because when you help them get what they want, they're more inclined to help you get what you want. Okay. All right. So your first homework assignment for me would be to sit down, go through your database, go through your phone, go through what services you use, and create a list of 10 people. Okay. Now, you will get a copy of this blank sample form after the call today, from whoever invited you here. And you'll see this is just a sample, but I have 4 pages because I eventually would love for you to have 40 people or 50 people on the list. And so how I break that list down is week one, I call the first 10. You can see up here it says group one on your form. So there's 10 of those on page one, group one. I call them the first Monday of every month. Not super complicated. Okay. Week two is group two, call those 10. Week three, group three, same thing with group four. Okay, so you are going to get as much information on this sheet as possible. Like I said, I'll send the tool to you. Do not have to create this. We want their contact information, email, cell phone number, birthday, anniversary, hobbies, any referrals they give me, I record in here so I can keep up with how many referrals I'm getting from these business partners, right? And then the January through December is, am I making contact with them every month? Because as I said last month, the key to building a referral-based business is constant communication. Constant being the key word. So I can't call them in January and not call them again till August and say, hey, do you have a deal for me? It doesn't work that way, right? So I want to know, did I call them? Did I have coffee with them? And you will, when you get the form at the bottom, you will see my cute little fun acronyms. Like if I have coffee with them, it's a C. If we have lunch, it's an L. Okay, it's not super complicated. But the greatest thing about this, every Monday morning, it tells me print out your key influencer group sheet. Then I have on Monday exactly who I'm supposed to call. I can put my notes on here, update it in my computer spreadsheet when I have time, and then next Monday I just print group two. My reminders on my calendar, that's one big implementation. After you create the list, you have to have the reminders on your calendar to remind yourself of who you're supposed to call. Okay? So you will get this form. At first, it starts with make your list. Start with 10. Start with 10. Okay? The second step is we have to set our appointment with these people to go sit down and have a conversation with them. Just like I made a huge mistake as I had the initial conversation and then I never followed up with them. So now you've got your list, you've got a tracking form that you can follow up with them. Now we've got to set the appointment. So this is where you explain what you're doing. The easiest way I can tell you how to explain the key influencer concept is if you've ever been in a BNI group, business networking group. Okay. BNI was great for me for a while, but the unfortunate part is I think you have to attend like 50 meetings a month. And if you miss one in your area, you got to go to another one. It's a great place to meet people. The unfortunate part is you have to do business within that group. And if there's someone in that group that you might not jive with or have a connection with or a good response rapport with, it's hard to refer people if you're not in relationship with them, right? So this is basically your own personal BNI group. So when you put these people on the list, make sure you're like, yes, I like to spend time with them, or yes, I want to spend more time with them, right? So what does the appointment look like? The appointment looks like I would call Brett or Christine or anybody else, Evan, whoever on here that I know. I can just see people I know here, and say, I would love to buy you a cup of coffee, or I would love to stop by your office. I am creating kind of a networking group of like-minded business people, and I'd like to share that with you and see if it works into your schedule and if you'd be interested in being a part of it. That's it. Listen, if you're calling business people, and myself included, and you call me and say I have a business opportunity for you, I'm not going to say no. Now, if they say no, it may be because their plate's too full. It's probably no, not right now. Okay. I can assure you, no one said no to me. Now, after I had the appointment, there were a couple people that said, I don't know if I can commit to that. And we adjusted the rules a little bit, but it starts out with just setting the appointment. Here's what I highly don't recommend. Don't call and say, I want to pick your brain. None of us have any room in our brain for anybody to pick anything, right? We're all wearing 100 hats. So it's more about how can we work together? Is there an opportunity for us to grow our business? I'd love to talk to you about an opportunity that I'm creating for some business people. Whatever that script is for you to set that appointment, but set the proper expectations that you're coming to visit with them about an opportunity. Okay. Very few of them will say no. All right. You know what? I'm going to go back to the slide just for a quick second.
Hey,
Um,
Kendra, I was gonna throw some
yeah,
out. So
please.
if they're going through their database and they're talking to some of their clients, they say, "Hey, do you have a good financial planner you work with?" Well, when they call the financial planner, they'll say, "Hey, so and so referred me to you."
That's
And
right.
so and you aren't lying when you say you want to get in a business group with them because you will be able to refer that financial planner to someone else.
That is correct. And here's the cool thing, you guys. I think you all have received this all about you form when we did the database as a handout, but just in case, I'm going to send that to you because Brett, that's exactly at the bottom of the all about you form. It asks them, do you have a favorite financial planner? Do you have a favorite trust attorney? A lot of times I can pull people from there. If I don't have a good trusted advisor in some arena, I can use my clients to help me find those. So I will send that to you guys as well. So you can use that to leverage some of those relationships as well. Okay, great point. All right. The other thing I want to tell you guys is when you sit down in front of these people, some of us are intimidated of like, what will I say? How does this appointment go? The cool thing is I'm going to send you the script for this. So you will get that as part of your handout packet as well. And it is how to set the expectation. So the call that I just gave you, the script is on there. And then how to ask some questions of them to get the conversation rolling. Let me just remind you, Ford is one of the best things you can remember. Talk to them about their family, talk to them about their occupation, where do they see their business going? Just like Brett always asks me, hey, what are you seeing in the market? Once you get the conversation rolling, it rolls. So remember, if these are people that already know, like, and trust you, those conversations aren't super hard. But we might just need a reminder. So I'm going to make sure that I send you guys the expectation meeting script and all that in your packet here. Okay. All right. So we have set the appointment and we're asking them to be a part of this group. And what does this group do? You get to set that expectation for them. So if you want to do a quarterly book club where you buy the book and they brown bag their lunch and come to your office and you discuss it once a quarter, Number two, you can do a monthly coffee drop in the morning. Same coffee shop. I love local coffee shops. Give everybody between 7:30 and 9, come by and have a cup of coffee on me. You can introduce them to other people. You can do a monthly happy hour if you wanted to. The key to this working for both of you is you have to help them connect with other business people to grow their business. Okay. We're asking them to help us. In return, we have to help them. Okay, so if I do a coffee drop from 7:30 to 9 and I say pop in at first Wednesday of every month, I send the calendar invite and Brett comes in and let's say he's a financial planner and I have a small business owner here, I would want to connect them to see if there's an opportunity for them to do business together. So I could say, hey, Evan, I want you to meet Brett. Brett's a financial planner. Evan owns a small business. I get them talking and guess what? The next person comes in. Okay. Then the next person that comes in is my insurance agent. Everybody needs insurance, right? So I want to make sure that I introduce him to everyone that's in my group there. Now, some of them will pop in and say 5 minutes. Some of them will pop in and say the full hour and 30 minutes. Okay. The main thing that I want you to think about, your only job at these events, whatever you decide to do that fits your business, is be the connector. Be the connector. I have a bracelet that I wear a lot from the word project and it says connector. And my ultimate goal is always to connect people. That's why I do these things. This is why I do my women's retreats. I want people to have resources. And if I can connect A person with B person and they can form a relationship, a business opportunity, then I've done my job. Okay. So in your mind, don't get in the headspace of nobody will come to my coffee drop or whatever it is that we tell ourselves, the lies we tell ourselves. If you saw 3 people and you were able to connect 3 people and they had an opportunity to work together or deepen in a relationship, they will always remember that connection came from you. Okay. So how do we continue to deepen these relationships? Monthly call. I told you about my call sheet. I call them once a month. That's it. The whole purpose, if we were all in a room together, I would ask you why you guys think I call them on Mondays. And I would get all kinds of answers. But the truth of the matter is, I call them on Mondays because most of these are movers and shakers. What do I mean by that? I mean that they were probably in the community this weekend at the art crawl, or they were at a fundraiser, or they were at an event. So if I call on Monday and plant the seed that, hey, what can I help you with in your
Yeah,
business?
it's
And
all
then
customizable.
okay, there we go. What can I do to help you in your business? And then guess what? In return, they're going to say, what can I help you to do in your business? So I just build rapport when I call. What'd you do this weekend? Were you at the art crawl? I'm sorry I missed you, or whatever. And what can I help you with in your business this month? If they say nothing, say, okay, great. And 99% of the time, they're going to say, I'm looking for you a referral, or how can I help you? The one thing that I want you guys to remember is you have a big database leverage too. So when you're talking to these business people, things like this will come up. We need to hire a receptionist. I hear that a lot. We're looking to hire our next employee or whatever. And I always say, as a service to them, if you'll send me the resume, I will put something out on my social media or send it around to some folks I know that may have some opportunities to look at this position. I'm going to try to help them fill that job. That's finding a need and filling a need. That's deepening our relationship with these people. Again, we're helping them make more money, grow their business, and in return, we hope that they will do the same for us. Okay. Email videos, you can do a market update, you could do a business tip. I mean, with the internet, you guys, we can find a million things that are going on. Hey, keeping employees is hard. Here's a tip I heard, just wanted to share it with you. Or the market interest rates have come down a little bit. If you know anybody that needs a refi or a sell, give me a call, those kind of things. So the videos for me was always a service I could provide back to them. It was not ever, I need a deal, I need a deal, I need a deal, right? These are business people that want to work with business people. Monthly happy hour coffee drop, we've talked about that. Then you could create a very easy birthday or wedding anniversary party. I'm sorry, not party, gift. So birthday gift, you can send 4 cupcakes to their office. You can drop 4 cupcakes off at their office. You could drop 1 cupcake off at their office, right? You can cut a video, it's free. Anniversary program, same thing. Those 2 things will be on your All About You form. So if you have an All About You form on those, you could go ahead and put those reminders on your calendar. Again, this is just tips for you to strengthen this relationship. We can't call them this week and not call them again for 6 months and expect this program to work. Okay. Mailers, letter of the heart. We talked about this last month. The only reason I would send the letter of the heart to business people is if I'm in relationship with them. I'm not going to cold call somebody and send them a letter that's from my heart. They'd be like, are you crazy? Why do I care that your son went to college or whatever, right? So be cognizant of that, what mailers you send to them. If you don't know them very well, you want to send more like an evidence of success postcard. You can kind of show them that this is your bragging point of, hey, I am successful. I sold this many properties, or I sell my properties list price to sales price average percentage, or my average days on the market for my listings are X. It's not I'm number one. You might be the only one, right? So give them some reason to show that you are successful in what you do, so they will continue to keep you top of mind when somebody speaks about real estate. Monthly contact, we talked about that. The video email, we talked about that. I'm going to give you one extra little, when we talk about we want to help them grow their business. So what I did is I did a monthly featured key influencer in my business. So this is Brent Scott. He literally did my personal home inspection on my rentals and my personal home. And so I gave him about 45 seconds, and I had a different vendor every month. Okay, so this month it was Brent. 45-second little infomercial is why everybody needs a home inspector. And that would be posted for the month he was featured as my featured vendor every Friday on my social media. And I would tag Brent. And so guess what? Then it would go to Brent's social media page. And then you would get so many comments about, oh my gosh, she was our realtor. We've been thinking about buying or selling. Is she a good fit? Or I've got some questions for you. At that point, they're helping you create some momentum in your leads, right? Your lead attrition. So if you can partner with somebody that has a good reputation like this, and you can give them some exposure to their business, it in turn gives you exposure to your business. So you guys are each helping one another grow your business. So don't think about this as it's just about Kendra Cook. I'm helping them. Okay. Videos are free. You can post them on social media. You can tag people. It is another way for you to partner with them and help you. Okay. The monthly get together, whatever it is. The keys to this is same place, same time of month, same time of day, every single month, which is basically what we do with these webinars, right? That's why we get a lot of people on these. We don't change them up. So if you're going to do a coffee drop first Wednesday, same place, same time. If you want to do a monthly happy hour, same place, same time. The book club, you could do quarterly, things like that. But if you're going to do a monthly event, simplify the process, do an Evite, it's free, and you'll be surprised how many people will come to these things to mastermind and grow their business. Okay. The
Kendra, I was
birthday.
going to say, scissors and scotch sounds dangerous. What is that?
It was scrapbooking.
Okay.
It was scrapbooking. So, so there they did it at an old English pub. This was one of my students. I thought it was pretty cool. Um, and oh no, this one is the Cars Hairdress Cocktail. Oh yeah, this okay. So there is a bar in North Carolina, and you guys, it's a like Kilted Buffalo. It's like an Irish pub, and in the front, it's a barber shop, and in the back, it's an Irish whiskey place. And so that's what this one was. We did do one. Somebody did one. I didn't, but it was scissors and scotch, and they did scrapbook, not scrapbooking, but vision planning, where they like vision boards or whatever. And because guys think they're too cool to do vision boards. Sorry, guys, you guys all think you're too cool for that. So some guy did it and had a great success with it. So that's what that is. Good question. Um, okay, so birthday program can be whatever you want it to be. It can be a personalized video. It could be a card. It could be a call. It could be a cupcake. It could be a gift, right? That is totally up to you what your budget and what your time allows. I think we get super caught up in everything has to be this way, this way, this way. I do like systems, so I'm okay with that. But whatever my birthday program is, as long as I stick to it every single time, that's what I did. I don't know if you guys have GG cupcakes around here. I haven't been around here long enough to know that, but GG cupcakes, I went to them and partnered with them. And so I just said, hey, I want to send out a postcard to my clients in my key influencer program to come and get a 4-pack of cupcakes for their birthday, and their family, they get to pick it out, right? And if they bring the card in, you just have my credit card on file and you swipe it and send me a quick text or email. Let me know who came in and redeemed the coupon. I'm sure you could do that with a local bakery, a cake, a pie, whatever, or you can deliver them. As my business got busier, it was very hard for me to do that. This one was for a dozen of mini cupcakes, and it was $20, right? So you can set it up however you want, but a birthday program is just to honor their birthday, whatever that looks like to you. This is the All About You form that I have referred to today, and you guys are going to get a copy of just this, okay? At the bottom, you'll see more about the business part, and so that's where I ask them, do you have a financial planner? Do you have someone in the business that you refer your business to, that kind of thing? And so that helps me with growing my key influencer group if I'm missing somebody. Happy anniversary. My deal for that, I don't know if I shared this with you guys in the past, but I have 1 week prior to the anniversary of my client wedding anniversary on my calendar. And I would call, let's say, Brett, for example, and say, hey, Brett, next week is your anniversary. Do you already have your reservations made? And you'll be surprised how many guys are like, oh, no, I don't. Oh my gosh, I got to get busy. And so I offer to make their dinner reservation at their favorite restaurant and the time they want, and text them. And I always use this little saying is, it'll be our dirty little secret. Your wife will never know. Right. And so what I do is when I call the restaurant and schedule their reservation, I also put my credit card on file for a $25 dessert of their choice after they're finished with dinner. And so let's say the dessert's $15, the server gets the rest of it on a tip. But when they show up with a dessert that says your favorite realtor wanted to celebrate your anniversary on her for dessert, it is a big stinking wow. Big wow. Lots of social media coverage, lots of tiers, lots of text, that you would do that for $25. Again, these people are helping you grow your business. So it's easy system you can put in place. easy to take care of. Okay. If that's not something you're interested in, just skip it. All right. All right. So this is the mindset. We got to change our mindset a little bit. We're kind of in, we'll buy the leads, we'll chase the leads, we'll set the open houses. Those are all great things. I don't buy leads, so I don't think that's a great thing, but chasing business when you first get started, it's a must. As you get in the business, you don't really have to do that if you work on building relationships. Okay. So let me give you a really strong case that I use this with all my clients, and it has worked for years and years. So my goal is to get you to 25 influencers in a year. So if you start with 10 now and you add 5 or 6 each quarter, we can get you pretty close to 20 or 25 by the end of the year. Okay. The ultimate goal is when I sit down and have the expectation meeting with them, I just say, I'm looking to find 2 new leads this year from them, basically. Okay. And I jokingly say to them, not deals, just leads, right? And you'll hear things like, I don't even know if I could do that. That seems like a lot. And I'm like, well, let's just start with one, then we'll go from there. Okay. So you can kind of simplify that process, walk them through it. They may say, how do I find these people? And you just say, you're in the community. You hear people buying and selling all the time, or you hear people that are relocating in and out of town. That's a good fit for me, right? We need to put them in the space where they can help you find the lead. Okay, so that is all covered in your expectation meeting, and you'll see it when you get the scripting. So if we have 25 people, they each give us 2 leads, that's 50 leads this year. Additional 50 leads this year, okay? Out of those 50 leads, let's say 50 of them convert. That's a $25,000, I'm sorry, 25 closing deal swing for this year. So if I could see any of you guys in a room, I'd ask you to raise your hand. How many of you want 25 more deals? Right? So everything that we talked about today, you can average in your mind $100 to $125 per key influencer a year. If I spend $20 on a birthday and $25 on an anniversary gift, let's say, their dessert, and I mail them 6 times this year at $1 a piece, and they come to 2 coffee drops and it's $5 or $6 for a coffee, for $100 to $125 I've invested in a relationship, if I only got one closing, I'll use myself. My average commission was $7,500 a deal when I started this. Would you spend $150 to get one, get 7,500? We have to look at that, right? And so I challenge those of you that are maybe buying leads currently to say, the leads that I'm getting, what is it costing me per deal? And what's the conversion rate of those? And if it's not that good, I really, really challenge you to take this concept and run with it, because it is very easy to do, because I'm not asking you to cold call somebody, right? I'm not asking you to work every night and every weekend chasing a client to get them in the car. I'm asking you to build relationships with people that know, like, and trust you, and you know, like, and trust, and try to see them or speak to them once a month. If it's 25 people, we need to be seeing people belly to belly, face to face every week anyway, right? So I will share my numbers, not to brag, but I started with 10, you guys. And in 2017, when I sold my business, I had 50 key influencers, and my team, I was fortunate enough to have a team that ran my database. I called my database twice a year, but they did the mailers, they hosted the parties, I showed up. I didn't have to do a lot of the stuff if you're a lone ranger that you have to do. I get that. But out of those 50 people, in 2016 was my last full year in real estate, I had 50 key influencers. 187 of my paychecks came from 50 people. I want you to think about that for a second. 187 paychecks from 50 people. So I loved on 50 people a month by calls. I'd host an event. Some show up, some don't. I'm always looking for a way to help them grow their business, the anniversary program and the birthday program. And I got paid 187 times. So that's average 3 deals per person on that list. It's such a crazy way to do business. We don't think that way, and we're not taught that way. But this was the game changer. I did not start this program until 2010 after the collapse. I moved markets, Brett probably remembers that, to move my sales price up. I moved markets, and I had to meet people in a new market where I didn't know anybody. And this is how it started. And from there to 2016, I grew it to 50 people. Game changer. People ask me all the time, top 3 things that you did in your business that you were the biggest game changer. Number one was my first hire, getting somebody to do the $12, $15 an hour jobs that I would free me up to make more prospecting calls and be more places. Number two was this. And number three was getting a coach. Those are the 3 things that absolutely changed my business from start to finish. So I want to make sure that I'm going to stop sharing, that we have time for questions because I know that's a ton of information. You guys are going to get the spreadsheet to start working on your list. You're going to get the expectation meeting and all the bullet points on that and the all about you form. So just know that those will be coming your way after the call today. But what questions do you guys have for me that I can answer about the Key Influencer program?
Kendra, I took a couple notes while you were talking.
Go
You
for
know,
it.
everyone on the call here is a connector. You know, because if they get a borrower, they need to make sure the borrower is qualified to work for a lender, and
Right.
they need a home inspector to have a connection there, and then they might have a homeowners insurance company that they recommend. So when you start, like you're saying, stretch it out a little bit and go to financial planners and accountants, those people are involved with people buying and selling homes all the time. And some people are saying, well, where am I going to get these people? Again, if you go through your database or friends or family, most people have an accountant or a financial planner that they know and that they can recommend. So that's a great way to build that number of people, influencers you're trying to reach out to.
If you have a painter that you use all the time, think about that person. They're going in and painting people's properties before these people want to sell their house. And so sit down and have a conversation with them. Ask them, do you ask your clients when they hire you, why are they having their house painted? And if they say no, say, would you be open to doing that in the future? And if they need a good real estate agent, could you connect us? You know me, I trust you, you trust me. I mean, that's how it works, you guys. If you have a CPA that does your taxes, start there. If you have a financial planner, start there. Like you can eventually grow this into one of my great clients was senior living facility. We had a beautiful location in our town. Listen, I didn't start there. I did not have a relationship with that person. So I was not going to cold call. You guys have heard me probably speak in the past. I don't cold call. I'm scared somebody will be mad, cuss me out, hang up on me, whatever. And that's just not who I am. So I don't like to be cold called. So I want to leverage different relationships I have. So start with those easy relationships. And as you get the confidence, doors will open to other places and you can walk through them. But don't just try to pull out a phone book and start calling. So I think that's a great point, Brett.
Well, and you also like you had a jeweler and a high-end furniture
I did.
group that you'd recommend. So you had all dentists, you had all these different categories of people, and you can go to all of them and say, "Hey, I want to put you in a business group." And the goal also for you is to give them referrals,
Yeah.
right?
Right. And so I can do that when you come to my event. I'm like, hey, insurance guy, you need to meet this guy and you need to meet this guy. Yes, absolutely. So listen, a lot of us as business people and business owners would love to figure out where to plug in, where it's beneficial for the short time we invest to get leads, right? When you guys all agree, I don't want to walk in this big, massive room and there are all these people. It's like, where do I start? And an hour later, I've not met anybody that could really move my needle, right? And these are smaller groups where everybody has a like mindset that, hey, we want to grow, we want to take care of our clients, we want to impact the community. And so when you just start grasping those kind of concepts, the doors will open and you will figure out who needs to be in that room. Yes, Steve, you have a question? Oh, unmute yourself. There we go. Unmute yourself. There you
First,
go.
I want to say thank you for
You're welcome.
everything. That was awesome that you're doing this. And by the way, I am doing your data tractor, and I tell you, everybody, it is amazing because now every morning it sits next to my desk. I love using my CRM because I keep track of all my clients, the birthdays, and everything. But let me tell you something, Kendra. This sheet is always on the right side of me, and just like I said, it checks off what needs to be done. Is definitely a change factor. Even when I bring it to my office, a girl came up to me, what is that? I said, I keep all my clients, what I did on my open house, even when I met on the street, I have them and I'm working on them. so I know I'm working and it works. Number two is what is your goal for doing this idea what you just talked about? Because I don't like to do 25, 35. I like to stick to 10 and rock and roll off those 10 people, because then people will come off the road or people call you and say, hey, you're helping Mike the barber shop. How can I be part of that? Now I can add them because I like the word by mouth, but if I could concentrate 10 and just work on those 10 people, what do you think to give us advice? Five good ones and then jump into 10 and then do.
Yeah, I mean, you guys know your capacity and you know your budget. Does that make sense? So it has to work for you. If you're a lone ranger, meaning that you don't have assistance and you don't have help to leverage, birthday gifts and those kind of things, then keep it simple. Don't try to spread yourself too thin. In the South, you guys are in the South, further South than I am, but in Tennessee, we used to say if you spread the jelly so thin on the biscuit, you can't taste it. This is a prime example of that, right? Is if you're spread so thin and nobody gets good consistent communication with you, then there's not going to be any juice in that orange, right? You're not going to get leads. So I would say fit your budget, fit your time, and grow it as you see fit. It's your business. I just had the means to do 50 eventually, but it took me 6 years to get there. Let's be honest, it didn't happen overnight. So perfect, good question.
You
Who
know,
else?
Kendra, I believe what you said is the most important thing. I think a lot of people don't understand is building a relationship. Don't worry about numbers. Don't worry about closing a deal. Build a relationship, because I think these people today, there's so many lenders, there's so many realtors out there. But if you could build a relationship and just keep an eye on their birthdays, anniversaries, and their home anniversary that they close, a simple post on your social media, even a birthday card. I'm telling you, if you be patient, they do come around, because they always do.
Yeah,
You
they
know,
do. Yeah,
I
and we're
love
going
that
to talk
idea.
about some other ways to generate warm leads, and annual review program is one we'll
Thank
talk
you.
about in time. Yes, you're welcome. Who else has a question for us?
I've got a question. Yeah,
Yes, go for it.
sure. So when you're building your key influencers, are you looking at one um, jeweler, one, are you getting multiple people or one in each industry like BNI? Because I'm
Yeah,
thinking if you have a monthly group, like a coffee, you don't want the two financial planners to come. You're not going to really help each other possibly.
right. I think that's a great question. You know your business better than I do. So Larry Roby was my senior financial planner, and quite honestly, doesn't now he has a little bit of our money. We switched our life insurance to him, but I don't have any investment accounts with him. He really used me because of my business, not because of, to get my business. So I would tell you I had a senior financial planner and then my personal financial planner. So there were two of those, right? If you like, my sister owned a title company, so obviously I didn't have 10 title companies in there. I didn't have any interest in her title company, but we were very loyal to her. Our builder used her, so that was perfect. But I would have 3 or 4 builders. I was always very transparent that, I had multiple builders. I had a couple different investors that I worked for. So I think it depends on your business and how you set things up. If you say, hey, I'm exclusive to you, Mr. Builder, then I definitely wouldn't bring another builder in. But I think that we know our businesses well enough to know that, hey, this is my preferred whatever, fill in the blank. And that's who's going to be there. So you get to choose that knowing your business, Thomas. Does that help?
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Who else has a question? I was trying to look at just unmute yourself if you have a question, you guys. If we're looking to get referrals in real estate to grow our business, that is competition within the group you created. Not IJS. Who? I don't know. Let's see. Who put that up there? Ursula?
Hi, Kendra. That was me, Ursula.
Yes,
It
ma'am.
was in response to a question I had put in the group chat about, and the young fella he just asked the question that I posed in the group
Okay.
chat
Awesome.
as
Okay,
a
good.
real
Okay.
estate broker. Yeah.
Perfect. All right,
Thank
let's
you.
see. If you don't know someone in these fields, you can always ask for an introduction on social media. Yes. What do you do if you don't have a budget to sponsor coffee meetups? So I would do something in your office. If you have let's say a conference room table that'll hold 5, do a working lunch, brown bag, bring your lunch. Everybody buys their own lunch, or, you know, can stop by their office for coffee. The camaraderie is the big piece. You're going to get them on the phone or coffee individually, but the camaraderie is big. So if you don't have the means to buy their coffee or to host some kind of event, do a brown bag lunch, right? Have them come together, bring your best. Okay, so I just did a women's retreat. This is hilarious. And so the topic of conversation for our first night there, not everybody knew everybody, right? There were a lot of people that didn't know anybody except me. So I did their life hack. They could bring their best find on Amazon, their favorite book. Sorry guys, but their favorite face cream, our favorite glasses. I mean, whatever. You had to bring a life hack, a life personal hack to the table. And that just starts free flowing, right? So you could say, we're going to have a book discussion, bring 3 topics or 3 tips around your favorite book you just read. Bring your lunch and come sit with other business people. You guys can be creative about that. So don't get all caught up in I can't afford it, it's too expensive. Get creative and you will find some places to get people to come together. Meet at a park and bring a snack. I love that. Let's see. Thank you. Great. Let's have backups for.
Yeah,
Okay.
something else you mentioned about the follow-up. Like after you may have a great appointment with the client, whoever you're meeting with, and you walk away going, boy, they're going to send me a bunch of, a bunch of deals. But the reality is, I think you've said this in the past, like the chance of getting a referral from someone you meet, you call one time is like 5%.
Yeah.
After 2 calls, it's like 10%, 3 calls, like 15%. So you shouldn't really expect to get any referrals from them until after the like 4th or 5th uh, interaction with them. That if I know you told me if you keep that in mind, it'll help you make those calls.
Yeah. And I think that sometimes you guys, we're like, they know who we are and they'll call us. And that's the same assumption we make in our database. And then we drive through the neighborhood and somebody else's sign is in front of your past client's house. And you're like, oh, you just want to like fall out on the floor. So if you're not consistently following up with them, that's on you, right? Because let's be honest, they're running their business. They've got their own set of challenges, but when you stay in front of them, it's more inclined of repetition communication for you to get some referrals from them, right? And it's not even a matter of, I don't ask them every time, like, hey, Brett, I need a referral. It's just, I'm checking in. How can I help your business today? Do you have any real estate questions? I'm here if you need anything. Click and move on to the next call. I am not, anybody who knows me knows I am not a hard closer. That's not my style. I am more about, let me help you. What questions do you have? I know if I stay in front of them and I provide them service, whatever that service is, they will remember me in a time of need. That's kind of my concept. So any other questions you guys have for me today?
Well, Kendall, we sure appreciate your time and your knowledge. It's always great hearing from a top producer, and we really appreciate you.
You're welcome. And you guys, listen, there's opportunities for you all to share who invited you here today. If you know somebody needs a good, honest feedback for their mortgage or whatever, don't forget that you guys are communicators to each other too. So be sure to refer those things and those conversations to the professional. That's what I always say. I want to get you to a professional. That's not my wheelhouse. So hope that helps you guys today. I will see you next month. Have a good one. Bye, you guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.